every motorsport has its hero, its face, if you will. There's Ayrton Senna for Formula 1, Valentino Rossi for MotoGP, and for rallying, well, we have this guy, Colin McCrae. Colin McCrae was born on August 5th, 1968 in Lanark, Scotland. And it was almost like he was destined to take part in rallying because, well, he definitely came from a family of rally drivers. His uncle was a former rally driver, and his brother Alistair McCrae is also a rally driver. But most famously, his father Jimmy was a 5-time British rally champion. In fact, he was so good he got his hands on some Group B rally cars during the era, including a 300 horsepower Opel Manta 1985, and the comical 400 plus horsepower MG Metro 6R4 in 86. So from an early age, he was involved in motor racing, but it started out with bicycles, trials bikes, dirt cross stuff, at the age of 10. But 6 years later, when he got his driver's license, he doubled the number of wheels he had and started racing cars. He joined the Coltness Car Club at age 16 and got behind the wheel of a good old-fashioned Mini Cooper and began doing some auto test competitions. But he didn't stay in the Cooper for long. As great as it was, he convinced a fellow club member to start racing in Hillman Avengers, and he even took said Hillman Avenger rallying and finished 14th overall. That's pretty good for your first rally, you know, in a basically stock car. In fact, by 1986, he was so good, he had already entered in the Scottish Rally Championship with a Talbot Sunbeam, and his talents were quickly spotted and compared to the great Ari Vatanen. That is high praise, especially because Vatanen was one of McCrae's idols. As he began competing in the Scottish Rally Championship, he was being noticed by people in the WRC, and he even took periodic jumps into the World Rally Championship to compete in the RAC Rally with various World Rally Championship teams. However, his first proper WRC event was Rally Sweden in a Vauxhall Nova. Everyone's got to start somewhere. He finished 36th overall. I don't even think that's in the points. But it was good enough that he signed with Ford for 3 rounds the 1989 season with the good old Sierra Chiazza. Despite being rear-wheel drive, I will add, he finished 5th overall in Rally New Zealand, which would soon become his best and favorite rally. But in the meantime, he did finish 6th overall in 1990 at the RAC Rally, despite having a few offs. His impressive performance, if not slightly crashy performance, in the RAC convinced ProDrive to sign him full-time for the British Rally Championship in 1991, and this is when his partnership began with Subaru. Using a 300 horsepower Subaru Legacy RS, he won the British Rally Championship twice in a row in 1991 and 1992. And thanks to those two successes at the hands of this Legacy, Subaru signed him full-time in the WRC in 1993 with teammates than none other than Ari Vatanen, the guy who he was compared to. What are the odds? It took a little bit of time, but he earned his first podium at Rally Sweden that year, and just a few rallies later, he claimed his first victory at, guess what, Rally New Zealand. 1 year later, Subaru threw out that big, heavy Legacy and replaced it for the lightweight, nimble Impreza WRX. We did a whole video on it. It's pretty damn good. The Impreza immediately allowed McCrae to show off his immense talent, securing 2 more wins in the 1994 season. And just 1 year later, the 3-year-old Subaru team scored their first manufacturer championship in 1995 with help from Vatanen and McCrae, and Toyota cheating, but from the drivers and the Impreza. With the manufacturer's championship out of the way, the driver's title was next, and it was a knockdown, drag-out fight between double world champion Carlos Sainz and his teammate, rookie Colin McCrae. Colin won some of the last rallies of the season at Rally Britain and Rally New Zealand to claim the championship by 15 points, making him the youngest World Rally Champion in history at just 27 years old, a record that still stands to this day. He never got another championship again at Subaru, but he got second place in both 1996 and 1997. And 1998 would be his final season in Subaru, but he did go out with a flourish where he won a further 3 rallies. As he grew in popularity and as he grew in skill, he won more money, which is why he left Subaru and signed for Ford. He was earning £3 million a year driving the new Focus World Rally car, which, by the way, makes him the highest paid rally driver in the world at the time. He started out strong with wins at Rally Portugal and the brutal Safari Rally. And then the first-gen Focus reliability came to fruition, and he can only muster 6th place in the championship. And this soon set a precedent for the next few years. He would race very, very well, maybe crash a few times, and then the Focus would break down. Despite these reliability issues, he would win a further 9 rallies with Ford over the course of the next 3 years, and his last rally win in 2002's Safari Rally, he earned the title as the most World Rally Championship wins for any driver ever at 25. Now, this has since been surpassed, but at the time, it was an incredible achievement. That would also be his last rally win, unfortunately, because then he moved to Citroën after some contract disagreements with Ford. He may have never won another rally with Citroën, but his consistency in scoring within the points helped Citroën win the manufacturer's title. Pretty good. Unfortunately, the same could not be said for 2004, as in, Colin didn't get a WRC drive. He couldn't compete in the 2004 season as no one hired him. So, he went elsewhere. He went to the Race of Champions. He went to the Dakar Rally in 2004 and 2005. He even entered at the 24 Hours of Le Mans with Pro Drive in the GTS class. He and his teammates Darren Turner and Richard Rydell drove a Ferrari 550 Maranello to a very impressive 3rd in class, and people praised the rally driver for being able to adapt so quickly to endurance racing. He didn't need to adapt for very long though, because in 2005 he got back in the WRC with Skoda, of all people, at Rally Britain and Rally Australia. But it wasn't a full-time thing, it was just rally, like certain rallies. But he did go to America, and this is when he was really introduced to the American market at the 2006 X Games, where he scored a respectable silver medal. He also competed in Rally Turkey in 2006 with Citroën out of the blue, when Sebastian Loeb injured himself due to a cycling accident. Unfortunately, an alternator failure on the last stage dropped him out of the top 10. The guy just can't catch a break. That would actually be his last World Rally Championship event Colin ever took part in. Now, just because he wasn't in the WRC didn't mean he wasn't doing other things. He entered a British oval racing series called ASCAR. And he did pretty good. He finished 6th at Rockingham Motor Speedway in 2002. He won the Race of Champions in 1998. He also won the Autosport International Rally Driver Award in 1994, 1995, and 1997. And in 1996, he was awarded a knighthood for services to motorsport. That is one of the highest awards you can get in the United Kingdom. And all of this meant he had the confidence to start working on a car of his own design, the R4. Development of the R4 began in 2005 and it was unveiled at Goodwood in 2006. It featured carbon fiber bodywork, double wishbone suspension, 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive versions, take your pick. It was powered by a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, making an incredible 350 horsepower. That's a lot of power for a 4-cylinder in 2006. It was designed to compete in anything from rallying, rallycross, ice racing, circuit racing, and even a one-make racing series was proposed. But all that came to a grinding halt on September 15th, 2007. When the helicopter that he was flying with his son and 2 friends crashed near his house in Lanark, Scotland, killing all on board. After a lengthy investigation, the cause of the crash was determined to be reckless, low flying on Colin's part. Over 15,000 people showed up for his funeral, and as news of his death broke, he was in the process, anyway, of returning to the WRC team for Subaru at the time of his death, and all R4 development was cancelled upon his death. McCrae is not a very successful rally driver in comparison. He only won 1 championship, and he held a ton of records, that's true, but he only had 25 rally wins to his name. So if he only won 1 championship, why is he so famous and mourned by many? It's because he embodied the sport more so than any other driver in history. He basically invented the motto, if in doubt, flat out. He was either on the podium or in the ditch. It was very possible he could have won more championships if he had driven it a little more carefully. In fact, he lost the 2002 WRC title by rolling his focus on the last stage of the last rally and losing. But that's not how McCrae drives. He always drives as if it's his last rally. He will never let off that gas. And nothing exemplifies it more than 2 instances. The first one, Rally Finland 1992. He was about ready to be signed by Subaru's WRC team at this point, and they show up at Rally Finland with this Legacy RS. Now, Rally Finland is notorious as it is challenging, narrow, and full of trees. It is very difficult for new drivers, and the boss told him to take it easy and gain experience. He rolled it before the rally started during practice. So the mechanics fixed the bodywork and sent it on the course. And then on the opening stages, he crashed and rolled the thing 7 times. So they fixed it and sent it out again. And then he rolled it again. And again. And they kept fixing it, and he rolled it again. And by the time the rally was finished, the roof was caved in. It was being hit with sledgehammers being bent back into place. There was plastic on all the windows. None of the doors shut. The headlights were broken. The taillights were broken. But the thing kept driving. The Subaru kept going. And Colin kept flooring it on every corner. He was a sensation, seeing this absolutely battered, duct tape strung up Legacy, ripping it around these stages as fast as possible. He still kept setting decent times per stage. It was ridiculous. and the Finnish crowds went nuts. This helped earn Colin a reputation for jumping the farthest, going the fastest, chucking it in sideways the most. He never let up. That rev limiter was always maxing out. And the second big instance was at the 2006 X Games. Travis Pastrana had set the gold medal time of 1:57.1 at the Rally Super Special competition. In the first 15 seconds, Colin pulled almost a 1 second gap over Travis and kept getting faster and faster. And then 100 meters from the finishing line, he rolled it on the landing of a jump. Despite digging in on the landing and flipping the car over, the minute all four wheels hit the ground, he was already in first gear, hit the gas, floored it away. With a tire down, he limped across the line and got silver. He was just half a second slower than Pastrana. With the rollover, the crowd went nuts. The only person going crazier than the crowd was Pastrana himself.
Car, what was it like for you?
Dude, Colin McCrae is straight up a god. This guy comes out here. I can't even believe it. He rose the car and I didn't even know if he lost time. That guy's amazing.
Colin's reputation of going flat out, no matter the circumstances, is his defining characteristic. It's what everyone remembers him for. It exponentially increased the popularity of rallying almost single-handedly. Just watching this guy never cease to amaze as he jumps it more than anyone else. And if you need any more support that he was one of the greatest, most flamboyant rally drivers ever, the Swedish Rally has organized every year for the last few years since his death a special jump over a crest. And whoever jumps the farthest over that crest gets a prize, gets a little trophy. The name of that crest? Colin's Crest.